Hi, I'm Eric from JakeWilson.com and RockyMountainATVMC.com, and today I'm going to show you how to change a tubeless street bike tire. We're going to need a valve core remover, a bead breaker. Today we're going to use the Stop and Go bead breaker, some tire irons, some rim protectors, and to balance the assembly, Dynabeads. Dynabeads are small ceramic beads that are put inside the tire. They distribute themselves as needed to balance the tire. This is an effective way to balance a tire without the use of external wheel weights. On dual front disc models, make sure and mark which rotor is the left and the right side, so when you go to put it back on, there's no confusion. First off, you need to get the air out by removing the valve core, and then we're going to soap up the bead area. We're just using a window cleaner. It's not very messy. Do it on both sides. And the reason we do this is it helps the bead slide down the rim when it's time to break the bead. We're using the Stop and Go bead breaker tool here. It's pretty easy to do. You spread the bolt, it breaks the bead, and once it starts you can just go ahead and use your hands and push down the rest of the bead. You need to slide that bead towards the center of the rim. We'll flip it over, do it on the other side. Make sure and push the bead towards the center of the rim. Now we're going to remove the bead breaker tool. We're going to go down to the floor. More window cleaner is going to make the bead come off easier, going to make it slide down easier. Also notice that we're using blocks on the floor to protect our rotors. This will keep you from bending them when you're removing the bead. Now we're going to install the rim protectors. And we need to make sure you can get 3 tire irons on them. So as you place your tire iron in, start at the very edge of one and go to the extreme outside so you can get as much of the bead over as possible while staying on the rim protectors. Pull all 3 of them over. Notice where my knee is. I'm pushing down on the opposite bead, pushing the tire towards the center of the rim, and you just work your way around. At this point, the bead should pop right off. Now you need to get the bead on the other side of the tire over the same side of the rim. So I've spread them out a little bit. I'm just going to use 2 tire irons here, but on some tires it might be necessary to work around the rim or use 3 tire irons. This comes off pretty easy. Pull up on the tire, let it work its way around the bead. Now's a great time to clean your rim. You want to make sure that the seating surface has absolutely no imperfections. It's clean. Now we're cleaning the bead on the tire, inspecting it, making sure there's no imperfections. Some models will have a sticker in the bead seating area. Pay attention to the markings on the tires. There'll be a dot indicating the lightest part of the tire that needs to be aligned with your valve stem. And of course, take note of the rotation arrows. In preparation to install the tire, we're lubricating the bead, but we need to be careful not to get too much moisture inside the tire because we're using Dynabeads. Just going to push down on one part of the tire at a time. The bead should slide over. It might be necessary to use tire irons and work your way around the tire. Now I'm lubricating the underneath just carefully, once again watching moisture, so that bead will slide over the rim. Now I'm going to line up, make sure I'm lining up our markings with the valve stem. I'll start there, just kind of get the tire started around the rim. Once I get it started, it's time to put the rim protectors in. You kind of have to use a little forethought and see where you're going to need them as you put your tire irons in. I'm I'm using my knee to hold down the bead, and I work opposite. And the whole time I'm working on the bead, I always have my knee pushing the bead towards the center of the rim. Work your way around. Once again, I'm pushing that bead down, make sure it's all the way towards the center of the rim. Work your way around the tire. Just take little bites. Don't try to be too aggressive with the size of the bites. Patience is the key to get the bead over on these last few bites. The rim protectors do a great job of keeping the nicks off your rim. Just keep moving the rim protectors around with your tire irons. Should be able to get the last little piece of the bead on. Now it's time to install the valve core, air it up, and seat the bead. Make sure that you don't exceed 40 pounds per square inch when seating the bead. If it doesn't go the first time, let the air out, maybe soap it up some more and try it again. Now we're going to remove the core and we're going to install the Dynabeads to balance it. I have a starter kit, and this tire only needs the 1 ounce bag as per Dynabeads instructions. Put on the lid. The tube goes on the valve stem, and it's best to do this gradually. Don't try to dump them all in at once, they'll get stuck in the tube. So just very carefully, slowly pour them in. If they do get backed up, you can flick it a little bit. Now it's time to reinstall the valve core and air it up to the manufacturer's suggested air pressure. That's all there is to it.